Why is it so yellow? Huh? It's too yellow. Yellowish. Is there anything we can do about that? It's very yellow. Huh?
Default is
By default, remove the yellow.
reset.
Okay, now it's a little better. It's not that yellow anymore. छोड़ दो. Where is our Suraj? So how are you setting this online projection? How are you setting it? We'll record in a wrong answer. Yeah, that's the point. Why is it facing me? Every time same thing. So when are we gonna learn? Okay, we ready? Yes, 1, 2, 3. So we can start early, end early. Let's focus quickly. Okay. There we go. It says a driver drives a car. Soul drives a living body. How many of you are conscious of that? How many of you know this to some extent? Theoretically, hopefully. So matter is dead while soul is conscious. The soul is superior to matter. God is master of both soul and matter. The knowledge of relationship between matter, soul and God can bring a great positive change in this world. So the science of soul or the self, because we hardly identify the self as the soul. So this is the basic teaching that is given in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is the first lesson Krishna taught to Arjuna. And this is actually where spiritual life starts from. Anything else that is discussed about so-called religious life, so-called spirituality, but it doesn't include the knowledge of soul, it's not really a spiritual life. It's not really a spiritual life. It might be some kind of dharma, some kind of duty, but it's not really spiritual life. There are different levels of consciousness. So the real spiritual life, see, religiosity starts from manomaya. That's the third type of level of consciousness. It's intermediate kind of level of consciousness. There are 5 levels. Ana, prana, mano, or jnana, and then vijnana and anandamaya. So anandamaya means absolute spiritual consciousness. So if you want to know where you are, you can just very clearly identify yourself according to the description given for a certain level of that consciousness. So in general, people are on the level of religiosity when they start practicing, when they practice some spiritual life. So that's kind of a manomaya or jnanamaya. It's theoretical and it's social, includes different interactions, but it's extremely rare. It's extremely rare because mostly on the general level people are pretty much anamaya or manomaya. Anamaya is just like animal life. People are self-centered, very self-conscious. Pranamaya means, okay, we include others for our enjoyment, so it's extended selfishness. But when one starts sharing, understanding the world a little bit, like here we were talking about matter, spirit, soul, and God, the interrelationships. When we start understanding these, then that's where kind of, spiritual life starts, religiosity to some extent. But then even beyond that, really knowing that we have nothing to do with matter. Because what is real knowledge? That has been defined as knowing the spirit, knowing the matter. So what is spiritual, what is material, and who is controller of both. That's Krishna. So if we want to claim that we have knowledge, then we should know about spirit, we should know about matter, we should know about God. That's real knowledge. But you see, this is just where spiritual life begins. And even maybe sometimes after practicing for many, many years, we still didn't even realize that much. It's not as easy because we are very deeply conditioned thinking our body to be the self. And body has different levels, we will talk about that. And we may identify with any of those levels, but all of those are not really who we are. So this is why Bhagavad Gita gives us some signs of understanding the soul, what the soul is, so that we can also recognize that within ourselves. Just like you saw this example with a car and a driver. So as the driver, that will come later on. We will discuss that a little more elaborately. Anyway, but that example is a very powerful example, and if nothing else, at least by hearing this presentation today, try to retain that example. Okay. So we'll have different subjects that we're going to be discussing here. One of them is Am I Matter or Am I Spirit? 6 changes of the living body. Some scientific proofs for existence of an anti-material personality. Mechanism of reincarnation. Difference between soul and God. And then practical benefits of this knowledge. Okay, so am I matter or spirit? So who are you? If you ask this question, I said most often we will identify ourselves with a particular type of body. But in general we will see that most of the human body is water, right? They say about 70% or something. So can you say I'm water? Anybody can identify as I'm certain collection of water. So there is calcium, phosphate, potassium, sulfur, sodium, magnesium, iron, copper, iron, and so many different kinds of things. That all consists of the body. Body consists of all these different things. But again, are we some of those? Can we say that we are some of those different elements there? So if we combine some of those elements in different proportions, then we can term this as a body. And what is this tag?
Price tag.
It's a price tag. All these different elements you can buy for a very cheap rate at the market. You can buy maybe some salt and iron and I don't know, whatever it is. Water, how much is 20 rupees? Maybe, of course, I don't know how much. That's 1 liter. Maybe. Of course, body contains more of it. But. So, does it sound like you? Is this the essential stuff of our identity? All these different elements that are there? Definitely, that's not the case. So we cannot say, I'm water, I'm this, I'm that. We have particular identity that is very much different from all these different material elements. But again, we never think like that. That's another point. But this is again something that helps us understanding the difference between the material and the spiritual self. So then what is our real identity? If we are more than just certain type of chemicals that we find within the body or that constitute the body. So the beauty queen, there was a story of a person who was very famous, and she had an accident, and then after some time there was no feeling, thinking, desires, movement, no consciousness. Would you wish to take a photo with very famous personality who is in such a state, you know, somebody who might almost practically leave the body or has left the body. Huh? Would that be very exciting? Anybody knows who that person is? Huh? Bolo. What's her name? Okay, doesn't matter. So something happened to her. She had some accident. So if we have the body consisting of all these different chemicals, is that very attractive? See, you can see the difference just in this image here, second image, compared to the first one. And there's a difference. See, no feeling, no thinking, no desires, no movement, no consciousness. Is that kind of body attractive? No, it's not attractive at all. It can be very repulsive, especially if you keep it for a few days. It starts decomposing. Horrible, horrible. There are some cultures in the world that do that, even without mummifying the body. You know, if you mummify, at least it doesn't stink, you know, it kind of drains the liquids. But it can be very horrible. But there are some other cultures that just pretend that a person didn't die. And they keep them seated somewhere and then relate to them for quite some period of time afterwards. It's interesting, very interesting how tamasic people consciousness can be. So chemicals are same body, but then what? Soul is gone. No, the soul is gone. The soul leaves the body, that body will not be attractive. There won't be any consciousness, there won't be any response. So in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Krishna points out, he says, for the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. Soul is eternal. See, body is not eternal, right? Body is not going to last. Even your body, we will discuss that, it goes through different changes now. But soul is eternal, it doesn't die. It doesn't take birth either. It's unborn, eternal, ever-existing. And primeval, he's not slain when the body is slain. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. It's not like, you know, body is born, body appears, then, you know, soul is also appearing and disappearing like this. No, soul is eternal. Very important verse here from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So this is not a family photo. Don't think this is same person going through different changes, different bodily changes. You can see, some of you have some photos when you were young, right? From childhood, maybe when you were also babies, right? Maybe your mother was holding you or something. You might be having some photos, right? Nowadays everything is digital. All these images are hardly preserved sometimes. Before we had albums, you know, and the photos were printed. And I still have, I remember my, you know, some of my photos that I have. My mother still keeps that. So, if you would see, it's a different body. Look at that small boy's body, and then you see the somewhere in the middle, and then at the end, it's pretty much different. There is some light similarity in between, but if you compare youth, then, middle age and old age, it's quite a lot of difference there. See how body goes through so many different changes. So many different changes. Anybody here from the medical field? Anybody studying? Nobody? In the medical field, it's a very well known fact that every 7 to 8 years, all the cells of the body are replaced by the new ones. No? You don't have any more the same cell that you had, 7, 8 years ago. So where is the question of the same body? All the cells are replaced. But then how come body, appears alike? Because it's a gradual transmission that is taking place. So anyway, so we see this is how the body is changing. So the soul goes from one to another. So even in this life, we will talk a little bit about reincarnation. People sometimes say, how is it possible? How can? But even in this life, you're changing so many bodies. Do you understand? It takes a high consciousness to understand this principle. Even in this body, you're changing so many bodies. Yeah? Or better to say, even in this life, you're changing so many bodies. No? Soul is going through so many different changes. So then naturally when the body becomes useless, just like we again gave the example of a car, then if it doesn't run anymore, then you get a new one. No? You get a new one. Okay. So body and soul, what is the difference? The body is matter, the soul is spirit. Body is not conscious, soul is conscious. Body is changing. You still see in the background that same image, how body is changing. But soul doesn't. Soul is not. Body is temporary, soul is eternal. Body dies and soul is always alive. It never dies. See, big difference. So this is the teaching from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Where is that teaching found? Nowhere practically, hardly anywhere. Nowhere in the world. People just think we are the bodies. People have conceptions in various religious traditions also. Then in the same body you will maybe resurrect or something. God forbid, Such a horrible bodies that we are having, Again, if you would have to get into those, hellish. That would be hellish. How many things you have to do to make up? I guess they were talking about makeup. Making up for the body and do so many things. Even if you make it more functional or whatever, still you wouldn't be satisfied with such kind of bodies. So then where is the question of having same bodies? They're horrible. It's so terrible. Okay. So you're not the body that you see in the mirror. You are the Atma, soul, the real driver of the bodily car. So, what's the material viewpoint? See all these different creatures that are there. We are bodies made up of matter, and we are no more than a chemical bundle. That's what materialists would say. You just see superficial like this. That's it. We are all a bunch of chemicals. And that's another reason. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna presented the science of soul. And then he spoke in one verse, he said, okay, even if you don't take a science, you don't accept, let's say, just for sake of argument, you don't accept the science of soul, you think we're just the chemicals again, but every day, how many chemicals are wasted? No? You use washing powder, no? It's a chemical. It's wasted after washing your clothes. You use sabun, you use this, you use that, you use so many different chemicals are wasted, you even eat something, that's also wasted. Whatever, so many different chemicals. Do you cry over that waste of those chemicals? Are you very upset about that? No, I don't think anybody ever got upset, that, he wasted something from the body or used for the body and it got wasted. I don't know if anybody ever got upset about that. So then, if you think that body is just the chemicals, why would you be upset about it? No? It's just a bunch of chemicals. Why should you cry about that? When the body is dead, it's just a bunch of chemicals are dead, finished. They're just gone. The energy is, let's say, even you accept that principle, energy is preserved and, it's just going to appear in some other form. That's it. Why being upset? Why being distressed about it? So Krishna gives also that argument to Arjuna, that he should perform his duty. But there is a science of soul. There is a science of soul. But this is material viewpoint. They're just a matter bundle of chemicals. Okay. And everything is finished at the time of death. Does that sound very nice? Your whole life, when you die and everything is over? How does that sound? You're struggling so hard now. You're trying to achieve something. And then you just have to leave it all and that's it? And no more existence? Is that idea very pleasant? Anybody wants to raise the hand? I don't think so. It's not very pleasant thought. You die and then everything is over forever. But that's material point of view. So if you accept the body just as the chemicals and you accept yourself as a body, then that's it. Once you die, it's over. Your life is finished. No more existence. No more living. Okay. So there is a spiritual point of view. So now what is that? We are not the material body of flesh and bones. No. We are spirit soul encaged in this material body. We did not die. We do not die when material body stops to function. So that's a spiritual point of view. It's a very different perspective. It's way different perspective. So we have nothing to do with this gross matter that we are encaged within. And we don't die when the body dies. Okay. So the unseen driver of the bodily car. It's another little more detailed analogy, but we spoke about. So here we have somebody who is driving the car very enthusiastically. So there is sight, no? You can compare. There is some sight. No? Then we have sound coming from both the car and the driver. Then there is energy, right? Coming from both of them. Then there is movement. No? That is also there. So the car cannot budge 1 inch without the driver. The body is termed dead without the presence of driver. The soul, but big difference, no? Has a big difference. That has to be something alive. Only a live thing can influence something that is dead. No? Car is dead. If there wouldn't be a driver, would that car ever move? So something has to move the car. Or somebody, better to say somebody, because even behind any other movement, there is always someone. Somebody has to press the button. No? Okay. So this is a very nice example. Like if we would have been taking nice care of the car, or taking nice care here of the cage, you can have a golden cage, and somebody brings you a very exotic bird from let's say Australia. I like those little cockatiers. You know cockatiers? Anybody knows? Anybody ever heard of cockatiers? They're like parrots, but they're a special type of parrots. They're not ordinary parrots. They're a little more intelligent. They're very small, like this. They can be a lot of fun. I once had some fun. I visited someone's home for a few days, and they had they had two cockatiers. They had them flying in the house, you know. They're very interesting birds, of course. Anyway, let's say, okay, let's have some special bird, like really special birds. So maybe ara. You know, everybody knows Brazil. In Brazil, they have ara, the parrot, with a lot of different types of feathers, colored feathers, and so forth. So let's say you have a very exotic bird, which costs a lot of money. So then you put it in a nice golden cage. Yeah? And every day you polish the cage. You use all kinds of different, you know, you can see all there different kinds of polishing tools and, you know, enhancing, shining this and that, whatever it might be. And but you don't feed the bird. What will happen? Common sense. The bird's going to die. Yeah, the bird is going to die. So in the same way, if we just take care of the body, but we don't take care of the soul, and what is the use of this body? No? And this is exactly what we are not doing. And this is exactly the reason why we are not happy. And this is exactly the reason why nobody else is happy. Because nobody knows what to take care of, because nobody knows who they are. That's the whole point. If you don't act on the level of the soul, but then how can you be? We said in the beginning, I want to be happy. I this, I that, but who is that I? We have no idea. We're just taking care of the body. And just like now, I shaved, you know. Or, you know, you may even feed the body. You may even, but what about the food for the soul? What about the food for the soul? That's something that we are not doing at all. That's something that we have no idea at all, what that is. So that's why, if you forget to take care of the soul, you forget about the bird, and that bird, it's khatam ho gaya, no? It's finished. Okay. So that's something we should not do. So now the second subject is 6 changes of the living body. So what is that? We see anything living goes through transformation, right? That matter doesn't go through so much transformation. It goes through some transformation, but not as such. So what is the changes of the living body? So is man not just a powerful computer or robot? We may think like this also. We may have some idea. We may start being influenced by the modern technology, develop some kind of thinking process as such. So let's say we have a drama going on. Do we have drama going on today?
Yes.
We have drama? Okay, so I have to be a little faster. So just imagine now, we'll have some camera recording the drama, and then drama will be observed by all of you. That is also there. So I can imagine something going on, like some very emotional, drama happening. Oh, he doesn't love me anymore, and he's like, oh no, what to do? It's like, and now what will happen? So some drama going on like this, and whole different things happening. Anyway, we won't go into detail. So is man not just a powerful computer or robot? No. See, the camera is observing. There are lenses in the camera, eyes of the judges. They're also observing. So what is the difference? See, camera, there's no experience. Anybody who's observing any person, there will be experience. No emotions, elation, sorrow, anger, so many different emotions will be. No consciousness, and then there is consciousness. And then judging, and then being able to judge. But it's a big difference. See the difference between matter and the spirit. Spirit within the matter. It's a big difference. Okay. Another point here. Swamiji, I think our body is just a complex machine that gets worn out and crashes. Why should we bother about some soul powering body? No, why should we worry about some soul powering the body? Does your car or computer grow? No, anyone ever noticed? Do you have a male and female car that can unite and produce a baby car? Can that happen? A living body undergoes 6 changes, whereas matter just deprecates. It is the soul that makes a living body alive. It's a big difference. Very simple common sense argument. But what is, of course, nowadays the common sense, it's the most uncommon. So the 3 major differences between a living body and a robot. 1. A living body undergoes 6 changes, while matter only dwindles. A male and female living body can multiply, similar species. Machines can't reproduce by union. And number 3, living body has consciousness, thinking, feeling, willing, while matter has no consciousness. Will it respond? Never. Never. It's a dead matter. It's a dead matter. Okay, so every living being undergoes 6 changes. So what are those changes? We said this is the first point that was made. So first is birth. Everybody, of course, living has to appear in some way. Then growth, then maintenance, then production of byproducts, then dwindling, and finally death. I see that. You see in any species, any living species, anything, trees, plants, birds, this, that, whatever. That's the sequence that takes place. Okay, so that's another. We have similar family photo like before. See, that's what's going on. Okay. So the soul is covered by gross and subtle coverings. So what is that? So we have the gross body. Now we'll a little bit dissect the body. Yeah, there are people who. It's a funny one. I met one professor. I mean, I spent some time with. He was a devotee. And what is that famous hospital? KMLLM, KM something, around Dadar area. K hospital, whatever it is, something care. So all the medical students, they have to see, when they dissect the body. That's a very, very, like heavy. It's like, it's like you see the dead body, and they, cut different parts, and they see inside. It's very, very gross, very, like horrifying experience, So, so like let's say everybody has a heel. If you cut the heel, inside you will have little globulars of fat. It's like it's horrible. It's like and everything you cut, it starts stinking like anything. You just cut body a little bit, some pieces, then some stuff, it starts enormously stinking. Really, it's a body. It's so abominable. Really, it's like horror kind of experience. And then as they cut different parts, then of course there's so much blood that comes, and then horrible. So anyway, what he said, he has different classes coming, have boys and girls coming, and they're dissecting the body. And he said most of the times, the girls and boys, they fall in love in such kind of places. And I was so amazed. It's like so funny, because you're dissecting the body and then you fall in love in some other body. It's amazing. Isn't that amazing? Really, no? Where is the consciousness? That you understand there is no consciousness. They have no consciousness. They're so covered by lust that they don't understand. We are dissecting the body, how disgusting this body is. And then I fall in love in some other, I fall in lust in some other body, thinking that it's not what I'm seeing here. It's amazing. It's it proves what a power of illusion that is. What an incredible power of illusion that is. How even something, it might be straight in front of your eyes, what is the nature of the body, and you don't see that. Amazing. And this is our whole life we are living. We are seeing so many things. Pashanapina pashati, that's the term given in Srimad Bhagavatam. We see, but actually we don't see. We have eyes, but we are not seeing. Because seeing means darshan. What means real darshan? Darshan means knowledge. You have to see with knowledge. You have to have real understanding. You don't see with lust, because lust covers the knowledge. Lust destroys the knowledge. That's our problem in this material world. So, body, it's not what we think it is. Body is something else. Okay, so now what it is, we'll dissect the body now. So now we have a gross body, which consists of different elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, and all these other chemicals we mentioned before. Now we'll dissect it further. There is a subtle body. What is that? Then this is mind, intelligence, and ego. That also, you can't see, but can somebody say that he doesn't have an ego, false ego? Anybody here can say, I don't have a false ego? Huh? Anyone? If I tell you something that you don't like and you get offended, that means you have a false ego. Anybody here doesn't get offended if somebody tells him something? That they should improve, correct, that something's done wrong. Anybody here doesn't get offended? That means you have false ego. Now, anybody here can say that I don't have intelligence? No intelligence? Because nobody can see, so there is no intelligence, right? Or nobody here doesn't have any feelings, emotions. That's a subtle body. Anyway, there's a lot of science about this. There are volumes and volumes of literature presented in the Vedic Shastra about it. And then of course there is a soul. There is a soul, you know, which consists of bliss, knowledge, and eternity. These are the real qualities of the soul, you see? So this is body dissected. But the soul is the essence of it. The soul, they never forget, the soul is the driver. Okay. Okay, so now we're getting to third subject. Scientific proofs for existence of an anti-material personality. This is a big subject. Actually, this we can have some other presentations more about it. And it's a very exciting subject, very interesting evidence that proves that we are not a body, we are the spirit soul. Okay, so we'll just briefly rush through it. So one is the common sense, which we already mentioned. When a person dies, we say she or he had passed away. No? What does that mean, passed away? What had passed away? It's everything is still there. Then what is it? What is it that it's missing? If you say it's all the chemicals, okay, inject some chemicals. Prabhupada would say inject some chemicals, make it alive, make it dance, make it jump, make it, but you can't. Nobody has ever done it yet. You can't. I just heard some news. There was some lady in US. They kept her in mortuary, and after a few hours she came alive. Everybody was so happy, you know, she has grown, you know, and now we get inheritance, this and that, and then she came alive, you know, it was like a big shock for everyone. It's funny, sometimes that also happens. Old lady didn't die. She came back. Okay, so who had passed away? The body is still there, yeah. Okay. Okay, the soul has gone. Anyway, so now another thing, consciousness. We already gave example with the camera, right? And the judges. So I see red light. Okay. And then man and woman or a couple, whatever, yeah, they have happy memories. So it's not just some perception of images, but there are different memories. When they see or think about certain image or pastimes, they recollect so many other things, right? Can camera do that? No. There's none of this. So consciousness means to be aware, thinking, feeling, willing, and intentionality. Big difference. Okay, this is a good one. Near-death experience. Out-of-body experience. So many cases. I have several very good videos, documentaries actually made on this, made by serious researchers, doctors, scientists. And it's very amazing how people have this out-of-body experience, especially when there are some surgical operations, there are some accidents. Amazing, 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 amazing documented cases. So 11 to 14% of the average American population who are mentally and physically healthy have had out-of-body experience. That's quite a lot. See, that's quite a big percentage. People had out-of-body experience. So enough research in near-death experiences with impeccable scientific credentials. So many doctors have done really serious studies, and there are many, many books that are written about it. Research on eternal souls, 30 years, Dr. Bigelow. So there's so many books, it's just amazing. And as I said, I have so many really, really good documentaries. You can see how people have come out of the body and they kept on experiencing what they witnessed beyond the body. You know, and what they could never know while they were, you know, lying on the bed or whatever, being in the accident. They could never know all these different facts. It's impossible. It's impossible because they were confined to that place. But they went beyond the place and they described things that nobody else could, you know, in such kind of a state could know. You know, like during, there's so many cases like surgical operation, consciousness is completely low, and the person is unaware absolutely what is going on. And then it can say, you know, one lady was chastising the surgeon, saying that, you know, you're operating on me and you're talking about cricket or some nonsense, this and that. Of course, in the West was something else, you know, football and this and that. You know? So she heard. How could she hear? She was made completely unconscious because she was above the body. Okay. Anyway, so many amazing examples. So then reincarnation. Last year I was in Europe in one camp. And there was one person. He's a ninja. He was in Japan for many years and he's been training martial arts. He has extremely amazing personality. He's a devotee. Many times devotees go to Harinam. Anybody tries to, you know, disturb, he just stands on the side or behind and takes care of these people. Once even, you know, there were several of them. And he's training, he's in a military, he's a military training for the special forces. And he's teaching them to be vegetarian, he's teaching them Maha Mantra, he's teaching them so many things, you know, that are in connection to spiritual life. And he's very subtle, you know, he can sleep, but he's sleeping in such a way he can feel if somebody else is coming from the distance. He'll wake up and jump and whatever. He has amazing abilities, really amazing person. And he's very subtle, very, very extremely subtle. This was all part of the training he received. So he was there, and there was a completely new person that had come to that place. That's a very amazing. And this person who is a ninja approached that fellow who came for the first. He never knew devotees, nothing much, you know, but India or something like this. And this devotee who was ninja, he came to this person. He'd say, "Hey, where have you been? You know, for so long." And this guy's looking at, you know, just somebody comes to you like this, so personally or something. What are you talking about? You know, what are you talking about? And he said, you know, "I know you. You were my friend in a last life." And this guy was even more confused. He said, "What are you talking?" He's shocked. You know, he has no idea what he's talking about. How can you talk even like this? We are friends. I never seen you. You know, he said, "No, just." So he said, you know, and this devotee ninja was very, you know, very excited. He said, "You know, we were fighting together." And this guy is now even more. Everybody was like, you know, I'm getting goosebumps. You know, it's like. I was there in that place, and I was like, everybody, what are you talking? You know, everybody was shocked. How can you talk? What are you talking about? And he said, "We were together in Tibet. We were fighting Chinese, and you were the one who fell first. They pierced you with the arrows." And the guy was shocked. He said, "I mean, you know, how do you believe?" And said, and then he told him one thing. He said, "Raise your T-shirt." It was a summer. He just had a T-shirt. He said, "Raise your T-shirt." And the guy's looking. What? You know, it's like it's all shocking thing. And the guy raises the T-shirt. He said, "Look at this. This point. This point. This point. This point. This point. This point." And the guy, you know, he had some marks. He said, "Raise your T-shirt behind. Look behind. You have a birthmarks. You were pierced with the arrow so many times. That's how you died." And this guy was like, "Whoa!" You know, everybody was shocked. Because that's another sign. Many birthmarks. I think it's going to come here. Let's see. Jan Stevenson, Carlson Professor of Psychiatry, investigated over 2,000 cases of reincarnation. Okay, memories. Of course, there are many books. I think it's going to come. Anyway, these birthmarks. People die because a certain, whatever it might be, gun, wound, or something, and at a particular place, you'll have some mark. Or a knife stabbing, or whatever it might be, you have a particular birthmark. There was one boy coming here to this program some years back, and he couldn't breathe. He had very serious problems with breathing. But mechanically, everything there was no problem. He absolutely had no problem with it within his neck or whatever thing, you know, breathing this and that. There was no issues. And then no doctor could help him. And then once in our temple, there were some people from Delhi, and they organized the healing session through past life memory regressions. And this fellow went for that regression, and they hypnotized him using that particular, methodology, therapy kind of stuff. And then they brought him back to previous life. So what happened in previous life, he was some fellow in some village in Rajasthan, and he wasn't a good person. He was cheating people. He was cheating people for money. And then what happened, those other village people got together, they burned his house, and they choked him to death. And they choked him to death. And then, that's why he had in the neck here, he had such a, psychologically, he has that problem with breathing. He has that problem with breathing. So I guess later on they treated this or something, they were working on it, and then that got removed. But the problem is he wasn't serious about spiritual life. If you would have known something about your previous life and your today's existence or whatever, you would better change something and do something about your spiritual life. There's one thing, this is very interesting. It says that when people get in trouble, they start praying to God. Get this point. When people get in trouble, they start praying to God. Right or wrong? Yeah. But if you keep on praying, you'll never get in trouble. So why we don't start chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So keep on chanting, you'll never get in trouble. You get purified, and you get, transcendentally elevated, and you'll realize I'm the spirit soul. So why we have to wait to get in trouble? But you see, he was in trouble. And the problem was he was earning also this lifetime. He was doing the same thing. He was cheating people for money. He had some business. And I told him straightforward, but you're doing the same thing it was told to you were doing in last life. Which is kind of, it makes sense. It's continuation. But I said, now you have this knowledge. Now you have understanding what you did last life. Why don't you change that? Why don't you do something about it? He said yes, but he was not serious. Amazing. That's again, seeing but not seeing. Understanding, knowing, but not doing anything about it. That meaning, actually, he didn't really get it. He didn't understand. So unfortunate, so unfortunate. What can be done? Anyway. So again, I guess, he'll have to go to really school of hard knocks, as it said. So there are so many books, there's so many cases, really, really amazing cases. And as I said, again, I have many good documentaries one can see, and it's very educational, So, phobias. Okay, that's another sign. People have different phobia. Phobia means extreme fear, like very clinical, like very intense, very powerful fears of something. Like let's say my mother, for example, she can't see a snake. If she sees the snake, God forbid, moving even, she'll just freeze and scream. She can't see the snake. That's a phobia. I know one boy, he couldn't see he would see the dog, and he would have to go. We were going to school when we were kids or something, and he would have to go a few blocks away around. Just he doesn't, see the dogs, He couldn't pass by the dogs. He couldn't do that. Or some people are very fearful of the heights, Some people are very fearful of water. These are all heavy phobias. There was one doctor in Germany, he was also using this regressive therapy. So there was one girl, she couldn't see the dog. She just terrified seeing the dogs. And then he used that therapy, and then he found out that she was an Eskimo in previous life. Eskimos in the Greenland and North Canada or whatever, somewhere there, Eskimos, they live in these ice cube, igloos, funny stuff, and this, yeah. eat very funny things also. And so now she was she, but in previous life was he. So what happened? So he went out. He was with. They have this. How you call them? Sliding. These carts.
Dog sledge.
Huh?
Dog sledge.
Dog sledge. Yeah. So he went out with few dogs, and they get lost. They got lost. And then the dogs got a little wild because of hunger, and they pounced upon and tear him apart, ate him alive practically. And that's why he just couldn't think of dogs. He had such a phobia of dogs. It's just so hellish. Anyway, there are billions of such kind of stories documented, as I said, so many cases like this. And that's helpful for us to raise our consciousness. That's why we're discussing, to raise our consciousness, to understand this is not the only life that we live in. Yeah? This is not the only life we live in. And there's more beyond the body. And this is why we are discussing this science of self, science of the soul. So anyway, phobias related to the mode of death of person whose life is being remembered. Okay, for example, if previous life ended in drowning, there would be a phobia of water. If the previous life ended in stabbing, there would be a phobia of bladed weapons. If it ended in shooting, there would be a phobia of firearms, and so on. So he recorded in many cases people have wherever the place was affected, there would be some mark on the body, or there would be even some pain, something going on. Very interesting. So this is also difference in temperament of the twins proves the soul. Even though identical twins are physically born by the splitting of a single egg from the same genetic material, they may have striking contrast in temperament. The difference in temperament is because of two different souls reincarnated in two different bodies that are genetically identical. So it's not a you can't say they're different personalities, they're different souls, different bodies. Anyway, this is a very good documentary that was made, but we won't show it now. Okay, so there are famous scientists and personalities who give some of their realizations about the life after this body. Yeah, so anyway, I won't read this, there's a lot of it, we'll just a little bit speed up. Of course, there was one very known case of one girl, remember her past life, where she lived in a various village, and she described everybody. We had one boy here in Mumbai. I mean, of course, I just said there was one boy who was working as a watchman in Udaipur Palace. And there was a certain chamber where something was kept, and then somebody was accused of something, and he exposed that fellow because he knew where things were kept. And as a small boy, he gave all that information, and when they came there, they opened, they found this, everything was exposed. It's amazing, amazing. The science of reincarnation is just amazing. How could the boy know what's going on in the palace, in the secret chamber, where there is such a thing and whatever? Amazing things. So anyway, so she made the whole story. She recognized so many things. Anyway, I'll just go fast through this. Okay, now one more subject here. Okay, mechanism of reincarnation. So what is this? So what happens to us at death? The soul leaves the gross body behind, and it's taken to another one based on the quality of desires stored in the subtle body at the time of death. So when you leave the gross body, you carry your subtle body. What is subtle body we showed? Who remembers? Huh? What is subtle body consisting of?
Mind, intelligence, ego.
Okay, mind, intelligence, and ego. Yes, so that goes with you. Your karma also goes with you. Your desires go with you. It also goes to the next body. Yeah, that doesn't die at the moment the gross body dies. It goes along with you. So you have to be careful what you desire. You have to be careful how do you act. Confirmed, see? If you do like this, it's going to be trouble. So, you have to know all of that. Okay, so as a person puts on new dresses, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless one. Very, very powerful analogy, no? Very common understanding. Just like you change the dress, or we said you change the car, that's how you change another body when it gets worn out. So on what basis is the soul awarded the next body? That's what Krishna said, Yam Yam Bhavi Smaram Bhavam Chacham Tanti Kalevra. And see this, now look at these fellows. The way you act, the way you behave, you take on another body. Now look at that morph transformation that's going to happen. 1, 2, 3, slowly. Okay, not yet. One more. This is translation. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without a fail. That's a fact. You see, if you, let's say, in the war, one party is fighting another party. That's very important to understand. And your consciousness is fully absorbed in someone else. Let's say you're fighting, whom you want to fight? Pakistan or China or whatever. Who you want to fight? Or you want to go to Ukraine or something. You want to fight someone and you think about it, that you'll become that in your next life. It's heavy. It's heavy. It's amazing. This is the irony of material nature. It's amazing. Because that's your very strongest thought at the moment of death. If that's what it is, that desire, that will carry you into the next body. It's pretty heavy. It's a joke of material nature, something that you apparently hate and this and that, then you appear there, and you get that body. There were cases like this. Like I said, in those books that we showed, there were cases of a Japanese fighting in Burma, now Myanmar, no? It was Brahmadesh actually. And those Chinese were born as a small Burmese, and they hated everything Burmese, but they were born. They were small little Burmese, but they were Japanese in previous life. That's documented. Such kind of cases are documented. So you have to be very careful. Okay, so whatever you remember when you quit the body, that's what you will attain. If a man thinks of a woman, he'll become a woman. If a woman thinks of a man, she'll become a man. If you think about your lovely pet animal, anybody has lovely pet animals? I think somebody, what did I see recently? Somebody had something, I forget now. What was the animal? Some funny animal, really. I saw something. Anyway, forget. Okay, so look at this. So, that's that's what. Then that's what you become. Okay. Oh, we have to hurry up, there's so much more. So we accept one body after quitting another, depending on what? So desires in the mind. Desires in the mind, good and bad karma. That's the basic thing, our desires and our karma, two things. What you desire and how much you can afford, how much you qualify for it. So therefore, when one ignores God's laws and engages in sinful activities with his impure mind and senses, then one glides down to animal bodies. So we should be cautious. How do we act? It affects, I said, affects the consciousness. See, if somebody, eats and likes to kill and eat meat or whatever, then yeah, okay, you get the body of a tiger. But even then, that's not a nice life. You think it's an easy life of a tiger? There is one bird that follows the tiger. Huh?
Eagle.
Not eagle, Baba. It's not eagle. It's some other bird. She makes noise, and then all the other animals in the forest know the tiger is there. He cannot catch the prey so easily. He has to live on, some rotten carcass that, buried somewhere or something. It's not easy. It's not that every time he just gets something fresh to jump on. No way. So it starves so many times. It's not an easy life, and it's hellish life anyway, just by the fact what he eats. And somebody likes to sleep a lot, then what happens? What do you become? You become a bear. or a cat, or there's some other animals that like to sleep, they sleep, hibernate a lot, whatever. And then if you like to expose yourself, what do you think then? What happens? Because you already know. You have experience. Okay. So in human form of life, we've got developed intelligence to discriminate and lead responsible lives. But if one engages in simple activities, wow, even some sound is coming. If one engages in simple activities, see, that's very important. 4 pillars of simple life. What is it? Meat eating, yuck, 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 yuck. Very terrible, very heavy karma. Very heavy karma for little, few little pieces of some flesh or something. Oof, heavy reactions, heavy suffering. It's ghastly life. Ghastly life. Then, intoxication. It's heavy. Reactions are really heavy. Just to drink little alcohol, it kills billions of your brain cells. It's not worthy. It's not worthy at all. What to speak if you get addicted? And mostly people, to some extent, do. So intoxication. And gambling. I just said the other day how this, what's his name? Charles Barkley, such a famous, very athletic, known, accomplished person. He lost $25 million in Las Vegas gambling. That's a huge money, and he can't stop. He can't stop. He's addicted. Wasted so much money for what? So much money, and he can't stop. And so many friends told him, he can't. He just bets and bets and bets. He can't stop. I know one boy here also. He's wasted so much money, got indebted like anything. It ruined his spiritual life. It ruins his material life. He can't stop. It's such a force. It's such a power. It's such madness. Gambling is real madness. People bet on the horses. That's easy. On different games which are already set and this and that, cricket, whatever. Hellish. Gambling is terrifying. It evokes anger and disappointment, so many horrible emotions, greed. And then we have the best one. This is the most prominent. Illicit or licit, actually, both are bad. It's 4 pillars of sinful life. It's a heavy activities. So one will degrade to, what do you think, lower forms of life. If one acts like that, if one engages in all these different different kinds of activities, it's pretty bad. Okay. So if you lead responsible lives, following religious principles, I say religious life, it's not boring, it's a lot of fun. But it's profound fun. It's purifying fun. It's everlasting fun. It's a whole different thing. People think if I'm sinful, then only I will have fun in life. Yeah, you'll have fun and you'll have a lot of other type of fun, which you'll suffer like a dog. But in spiritual life, you have fun and there's no suffering. You tell me what's better. Tell me what's better. I have experience of both. I can speak for it. So much more better to practice spiritual life. So pure life. Doing the right thing. So voluntarily restrain from what? Restrain from nonsense, actually. What do you have to restrain? Restrain from all that ghastliness and then illusion. That's not even restraint. That's just intelligence to gain unending happiness. So little austerity is required. So little austerity is there, but it's not real austerity. It's just, and then little sacrifice, just to. Let's say you want to eat or something, you just offer to Krishna first. Please, Krishna, thank you so much. At least you can say thank you for whatever you're giving. At least that much. So the little sacrifice. And then, little knowledge, get some idea, understand what's going on in life, what's our position. And, good association. Association, very important. Because whomever you associate with, that's what your character is going to be, So having some good association. So these are austerity, sacrifice, knowledge, and association. So then, we can transgress this different lower qualities and elevate ourselves to the higher realms of life. Okay, so the almost last, and this is very brief now, we just point to one thing that we have to, we're talking about soul, but we have to be very clear that this soul is not super soul. You know, like we have Atma, we have Paramatma. So we are not Bhagavan. Many people mistake, yes, soul is Brahman. Yes, soul is Brahman, but there is Para-Brahman. No? That's a big difference. So we'll just quickly stroll through this. So we are not gods, but we are gods. Yeah? Okay. So that has to be clear. So Krishna says, you know, what is his position? We already said he's Para-Brahman. He's source of all existence. He has all the opulences in its completeness. You know, he comes to this material world willingly. He's not forced like we are forced, and he goes whenever he wants, and we cannot do this. That's a big difference. Yeah, we are tiny jivas. You know, we are not ultimate. We're just servant. We are part and parcel. We are, you know, we have to bear the pain again and again. Krishna doesn't feel any pain. Yeah. Krishna can create oceans and so many different things. You know, we create some rockets, most of them just blow off or whatever. But he can create huge planets and everything else. How much greater he is. You know. We can invent some dome light, but he creates moonlight. We make ordinary dolls, but he can make us. He makes so many living creatures. Yeah. Okay. And this is the last one. The Lord is actual doer, and we are just imitator. You know, He's omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient, and so many different expansions He can have. Can we expand in anything? That's in some trouble. Krishna can expand in so many simultaneous forms. Okay. So he deserves everyone's love and humble service, because actually that's what we are really looking for. And we will never find this in anybody, nowhere in this material world. Yeah. So we are a tiny soul cast in the ocean of material world. Yeah. Big difference. So we are not Bhagavan, we're just a conditioned jiva. Okay, so we have another practical benefits of knowledge of soul in every day. So why do we have to understand that we are not a body, that we are spirit soul? So it's very important. I'll just run through this because our time we still have drama and so many things. So just acquiring divine assets and freedom from demoniac nature. You know, people who just exploit others, you know, get things done anyway, anyhow, that's very terrible. That kind of life is there, because then you will be exploited yourself by the karma, you know. But if, you know, one acquires very good qualities, that's so much better. So having the nature to exploit others, that's horrible. And freedom from lamentation, illusion and fear. You know, how great that is. You know, if somebody, let's say, fails in life and so many things, have so many bad thoughts, you know. But one who has understanding of the soul and temporary nature of the material body, you know, then he's not affected by that. So what? Even whatever happens, it doesn't matter. One still always can go forward and have a positive attitude, you know. Anyway. And then universal brotherhood. That's the most important. People, there's so many divisions in life that, you know, even in our little circles, you know, we can experience so much of different kinds of divisions and judgmentalism that is going on, you know, or criticism, or so many different people try to exploit each other in so many different kinds of ways, you know, different kinds of positions. This is all complete Maya. It's complete illusion. If you understand that you're a spirit soul and you see everybody as a spirit soul, it's what a vast ocean of consciousness, you know. So many different divisions, you know, like this. And that's what I said. You know, if you think about someone else, you might end up there. Then what are you going to do? then material nature will have a lot of fun. You see? So much, about this, so much about that, but then next life, that's what you may end up with. Yeah? So we have to be very conscious. If you understand the science of soul, then that will not happen. So then positive outlook and attitude to life, anyway, that's very important. Taking care of others, not being selfish. Meditation for peace, happiness and prosperity. Not worrying about position, what kind of the position and what kind of body you have, and being so complex about it. And right use of resources, that's another thing. We won't exploit other creatures, we won't exploit nature. We'll understand how everything is connected in the harmony. So that's very important. Okay, anyway, so I'll just go quickly to this, and now we end here. So practical benefit of the soul awareness in our life. So this is some of the points. Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions? So now, at least you know theoretically, but if you practice this process of chanting Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
if you practice this process, then you will know and understand that you're really not this body, and you won't be worried by this body. Wait a second, I didn't call upon. Wait. I know. You have a question? We'll discuss it outside. Because now drama is going on. And you interrupted me to make a conclusion. So if we know that we are not this body, that we are spirit soul, at least that much you can understand are the benefits for such kind of consciousness, such kind of understanding, such kind of knowledge. And you'll definitely be benefited in so many ways, also more, free from so much trouble, from so many anxieties, from so many misconceptions. At least if theoretically we just understand that principle, the difference between soul and the body. As I said, if you practice, chant a little bit in the spiritual life, then you will have even greater understanding. Because if you want to understand the super soul, then you have to understand also what is your position in relationship to that super soul. What is your soul? Okay, so anybody having any questions, we'll discuss later on. We'll have a drama right now, and then the dinner to share. I'll be available outside. Anybody wants to ask something, so we can have further discussion. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai.
हरे कृष्णा। तो आप लोग बैठ जाइए अपने अपने जगह पे जहाँ पे बैठे हुए हैं फॉर द ड्रामा। अभी प्रोग्राम खत्म नहीं हुआ है। प्लीज सिट wherever you are sitting, and we would like to thank His Grace Adbhuta Hari Prabhu for giving such knowledge by once loudly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare। So आप लोग बैठ जाइए, जहाँ पे बैठे हुए थे बैठ जाओ ड्रामा के लिए। We will do drama and